Happy Friday, everybody. Just felt like going live at the moment. See my hat here. Two Brothers Organic Farms. Coming soon, as in episodes on the Nowman Show. Still doing my TV show after 9 years, in the 9th season right now. And yeah, so got into the studio recently. Of course, after the last few years, there hasn't been a whole lot of activity in the studio, and still working on the editing of that process. It's going to be a while. There's some extra work I've got to do to get that finished with everything else that's going on, and had to cut back on some things because of priorities. And see if there's anybody here tuning in yet. Still working with this live kind of thing. See all who I could connect with today. I hope everybody's doing well. I see some interesting groups I have not connected with in a while. Has anybody heard the new Beatles song, Now and Then? I might do a video about that, since it is the last actual Beatles song. Technically, I mean, I'm sure there are things that will pop up as usually do, but not that would be released through Beatles Inc. or Apple Inc. or whatever it is. In other words, Paul and Ringo and Olivia and Yoko, which is really Beatles Incorporated at this point. It says I have a slow connection. Okay. All right. Yeah, there's not a whole lot of groups here that I have not connected with in a while. It's been kind of a crazy few years. I think a lot of people are still kind of readjusting, or trying to figure out what to do next. but I still keep going. I mean, still doing my I want to believe. Somebody's got a UFO t-shirt on. That's interesting. That topic's coming up a lot now too. And I know on my phone I have no way of knowing who's tuning in. I've noticed that as well. I mean, it says, so many people are live, but I find out that's not a very good record of what's actually going on. And people will watch things later too. So I invited some groups in. That's what I was doing a moment ago, that I had on my phone. But we'll see what happens here. I'm still doing the Nowman Show. I'm in season number 9. I've been doing a lot of reruns and been making some documentaries on various topics, including content from the show in the last 9 years that's still relevant, and a lot of it's still will always be relevant because it's timeless. Some things just need an update to the story from time to time. And then other things haven't been rerun at all. So it still airs on the Arroyo channel, which is on Spectrum and AT&T Uverse. There's different channels. It runs on in the LA area here locally, and you can see what those channels are if you go to PasadenaMedia.org. You can see which channels those are. But also, if you have the app for Roku, Fire TV, or Apple TV, you can get the app too and watch it. And it's also going to be on the Nowman Show on the Arroyo channel, Arroyo, which is on YouTube. And my oldest channel is the Niswander channel, which I've had since 2006 when I was still living in Indianapolis, Indiana. And there's a lot of content there too. It's mostly focused on music, that kind of thing. But you'll see some other things there too. I call that my artist channel. And I have a grassroots channel for just kind of stuff that I just want to kind of put out there on the internet that I gather in one way or another. Mostly serious, but not necessarily. Some fun stuff too. And that's just called the Nowman Show. So that's not the main channel. The main channel where you can see content that broadcasts on TV and streams in that format, you have to go to the Nowman Show on the Arroyo channel. And also in the month of November is the Doodah Parade. So Nowman, my character Nowman, the superhero of the present moment, was in the Doodah Parade for a decade. And I think from 2008 to 2018, I believe. I think I might have missed 2019, but with all the stuff that's going on, I don't even remember exactly. But it is moving back to its original location where it started, I think in the late 70s, which is Old Town Pasadena. So if you go down to the Fair Oaks, Raymond Avenue, and Colorado Boulevard area there, on the 19th of November, you'll see the Doodah Parade back in its original location where it was for so many years, from the late 70s until about 2009. The first time I was in it was 2008, and it was the last time it was in downtown Old Town Pasadena, and then it moved to the east side of Pasadena. Who knows all the details about that, but that happened in 2009, and then I did the parade from 2008 to, I think I did miss 2019, so 2018 I think was the last time I did the parade. So it'll be fun to be not only back in the Doodah Parade with all the crazy characters and floats and music and tortilla shells being thrown, but back in Old Town Pasadena where it all started. So I'll probably do some special story on that for the Nowman Show. That same week is the official 20th anniversary of the release of my album Adventures in Wanderland, which is my second album. And I have a special surprise, or surprises, that I'll be doing to promote that landmark event. And I'll be doing it probably indefinitely because, a lot of life is about Adventures in Wanderland for me. So I'll leave it at that for now. That's the 21st of November, which is the 20th anniversary of the CD release party, official release of that album. And yeah, there's a lot of crazy things in the world, and so I released a 3-part documentary series this this early fall, and it's called New Renaissance. And I started with the first chapter, which basically just kind of an overview of Renaissance past and what I think Renaissance would be in the modern times, modern world. And then I realized there's a lot more to get into, a lot of content, individual topics. So the second chapter is called Historic Enlightenment, and then the third chapter is Community Enlightenment. So there's probably, I don't know, 30 topics, something like that. A lot more segments than that. A lot of segments. I don't know, maybe 40, 50 segments. I stopped counting, but I do have a lot of individual clips from the 3 episodes. I'll continue to be posting those because tomorrow, Saturday, November the... what is tomorrow? November 8th, I think. Let's see. Tuesday was when Wednesday was the first, so it'll be Thursday, Friday, the 3rd, right? So November the 3rd, or no, 5th? I get confused. Anyway, tomorrow I'll be rebroadcasting the 3rd chapter of New Renaissance, and that, of course, is about community enlightenment. So there's a lot of different topics in that, and I played the Brian Wilson piano in KPFK Studios. There's stories on AI and robotics and homelessness and economics and spirituality and more. So I'll put up quite a few individual clips about that. But anyway, I hope everybody's doing okay. I'm hanging in there. It's literally living in the moment is my way of life. And I do appreciate many of you. I don't always find the best ways to say that, and you know, this can be a way, I guess, to connect with people anywhere in the world that, you know, I've connected to through this platform. To say, you know, I appreciate you, and some of you have played a big role in my life in one way or another, and I do appreciate that. And I hope I played some kind of a good, hopeful, inspirational role in your life too. And we certainly need peace. I mean, in the world, oh my gosh, perhaps now more than ever. And I see a lot of things coming full circle, don't you? A lot of issues that haven't been addressed for decades, and it just seems like now we're seeing more and more issues coming full circle. Like maybe we really need to rethink how we're living our lives, how our system is designed, how we organize everything from our enterprises to our social groups to our family situations, business situations, whatever that might be, what our priorities are in actual reality. And it's a constant reminder that if one isn't awake or waking up, then it's becoming essential to snap out of it or not remain asleep. And there's probably still a lot of denial out there, and a lot of people that just want to go back to what they think is normal. But this is a topic that is really at the very least, we need to have a lot of conversations. Hello, Allison. I hope you're doing well, wherever you are. We need to have a lot more conversation. Peace is the only way. And if we don't make that a priority, then we're not focusing on what's really important in this moment, as far as our world is concerned. And too many people have taken too much time, I should say, focusing on saving their own convenient lives and just, not really considering how that impacts other people. And we really do need to look at our world as a whole, not just the role or the part that we play in it. Because everyone is essential. Everyone in this place makes the world go round. Not just any one individual or any one group. Oh wow, boy, that squirrel there was really like, see if you can see it. Hey buddy, what's the rush? Say hi. All right. Boy, that squirrel just kind of ran as fast as it could right in front of me. It's still kind of giving me this look like, no, sorry, I don't have any nuts. Sorry, no food. So, anyway, that's an interesting looking tree with two trunks. Or it's two trees, I guess. They just kind of grew together. I don't know how that works. Mother Nature is interesting, right? Maybe it was two seeds and they just kind of grew together. Something like that. Like trees can be twins too, I guess. Well, like I say, other than Allison, I can't see anyone else. And I know there's more because I realized the last time I did this, there were a lot more people that were watching by the time I got to my desktop computer. But I wanted to take a nice little walk this afternoon in my neighborhood. And it's a nice fall day. Not a cloud in the sky, beautiful blue sky as you can see. And so people playing tennis, and looks like maybe little league teams practicing in the baseball field. And just a nice little small community park where I live. And I'm about a quarter of a mile away from a house that Albert Einstein lived in with his wife, and he was here on several occasions as a visiting professor at Caltech, which is down the street. It's one of the top engineering schools in the world, but it's the MIT of the West Coast. So there's a lot of smart people here. And people that went through that school, besides Einstein, probably, the who's who of, all kinds of sciences. Charles Keeling was there for a while. He's the guy that came up with the parts per million measuring carbon dioxide in the atmosphere. He was there for a while. Probably a lot more, but I'm not real familiar with the history of that school other than those two individuals. And there's also an apartment building not too far from here where Barack Obama lived for a year when he was going to Occidental College as a sophomore. And Occidental College is in Eagle Rock, which is quite a ways away from here, so I guess he wanted to live in Pasadena. But, I don't have much more to say than that. I mean, as president, he turned out to be quite a disappointment. And I had a conversation with Shepard Fairey, the artist and activist owner of the Obey clothing line, and around 2012, and we shared the same kind of feeling that hope and change didn't happen, and he was a big disappointment. But that tends to be the way it is in our politics here in the United States. So that's how this system keeps going, by not really telling you the truth, or by making you build your hopes up when they know full well that they're not going to be able to fulfill most of their promises, if any of their promises, from the campaign trail. They just want your vote. So until we change the system, reforming it has not worked. Obviously, we keep having more and more issues, more problems. So we're going to have to do something different. And since you really can't change the system overnight, we're going to have a transition period. So to work on changing the system over time, because this current one is not working. I mean, I suppose if you're in the top 10% economically, everything makes sense, but that's not where most people are. The vast majority of people are not anywhere near that. Because, and of course, data is kind of boring, but it can give you an idea of what could be going on in a society. The U.S. Congressional Budget Office has data all the time, and they had some data that was released last year that said in 2019, the top 10% in this country, which would be about, 3.5 million people? No, 35.5 million people out of about 350 million people. The top 10% shared, and by 2019, when the studies were completed, 72% of all the wealth in this country. That's everything that's created by everyone, right? That's called wealth or income. And 72% by 35.5 million people was shared. So I don't know how many trillions that would be, but that's crazy. And if everybody's okay with that, that's crazy. So we definitely need a different system. This is just not a working system for enough people. I mean, it's just crazy. So let me know what you think about that, right? It's true. It's all because of you. Yeah, I'm already starting to get that melody in my head. Yeah, I might have to do a video commentary on that song. Maybe I'll work on that, for one thing. And how is everybody doing? If anybody wants to chime in, say hello. Please do. Or you put your notes in later if you watch this later. Little by little, the sun is going down, and I guess this is the last weekend before we go into daylight savings. So by this time next week, that sun will probably be down, right? Or at least it'll be dusk, probably dusk a week from now at 5:15 Pacific time. So enjoy the sunlit hours before it changes, because when we go into the fall and winter, it will change. So, well, I think that's about all I had to say. Other than let's make sure that we promote peace, because that is the answer. So if you take sides, you probably, you either don't know enough of the information, or you just want war. Because there's a definite difference between the oppressed and the oppressor. And I think a lot of people don't know which is which. And peace is the only answer going forward. And then education also is important too. That people understand the history, they understand what's really going on. And again, like understand who the oppressed is and who the oppressor is. And just, don't get depressed by all of it. Just be aware and just don't believe what you're told. Do your own research and figure that out yourself. And hopefully you've learned that. If you haven't already, you've learned that in the last few years, right? To do your own research. Don't let other people tell you what to do. And if you want to question something, you have a right to do that. It's also freedom of speech, the First Amendment. It's very important. Freedom of choice. From the Nuremberg trials came the term called informed consent. And that was, when there were some of the Nazi military and leaders that were put on trial in Nuremberg. That was a term that basically came out of that. Informed consent. You should be, before you consent to doing anything, you should be informed about the issues and have all the information available to you so you can make a decision. Let alone, being forced to do something. So, if you have questions about the First Amendment, look it up, read it, let me know what you think. It's very important. Perhaps the most important part of the whole Constitution and Bill of Rights. First Amendment. So, let's see, anything else to report? Well, I guess in my public life, that's about all I have to report now. So, this weekend I'm rerunning the New Renaissance Chapter 3. It's a documentary series that I produced. And I'll be posting some individual clips from it on social media platforms. If you don't have time to watch the whole thing, you'll see some of it if you tune into the platforms. Besides Dan Nowman on Facebook, there's also the Nowman Show on Facebook. There's Niswander, Niswander on Facebook. And of course my music is, you can find under Niswander. You'll see that, my shirt here. And that's on iTunes. Niswander on iTunes. And the Nowman Show on the Aurora channel is the television broadcasted content on YouTube. You can see that. And Dan Nowman's on Rumble. Niswander also is on YouTube, and that's my very first YouTube channel. And so I also have what else was I going to say? Oh, the Nowman Show, Grassroots channel, and I have another channel called Contemplation NOW, but I'm not promoting that too much yet. But if you want to know more about my spiritual perspective on things, it is called Contemplation NOW on YouTube. It's a fairly new channel, so I haven't been promoting it that much. But the subject of contemplation, spiritual awakening, it's becoming important to include that in discussion and conversation. So there'll probably be more of that coming. But we still also need education, we still need news, we still need arts and entertainment, all that I'm all about variety. I always have been, and living in the present moment, of course, as Nowman, the superhero of the present moment. Oh yes, I also have a book, The Universe According To Nowman, which you can find on Barnes and Nobles online. And it's basically what goes on in the mind of a superhero of the present moment. In this case, when you focus on the present moment, living in the present moment, that's what it's about. And I think that's all the advertisements. Oh, and the Doodah Parade, I might do a little broadcasting on Facebook or YouTube live, but I'll also be recording some of it so I can, put it on the Nowman Show in some capacity. That's the 19th. I think it starts at 11 a.m. Pacific time. So that would be 2 p.m. Eastern. Well, you can gauge it from there. 11 a.m. Pacific time is when it begins, and in Pasadena. And then the 21st is the 20th anniversary of the release of my second album, Adventures in Wanderland. So I'll have a lot of different kinds of content at that time, and probably indefinitely, because there's a need to just have, all kinds of stuff now to put out there as a way to connect, a way to put out hopeful vibes, and just good vibes, and all of that is just so important right now. It's always important, but it just seems like especially now, because I think we do need a new renaissance, which means we need enlightenment individually and as a whole. It's very, very important, and I'm going to be talking about that indefinitely. Put it that way. So now I think that's everything, unless somebody has something they want to add. So feel free to post if you catch this later. And I'm going to head home because I think it's time to get some dinner going. So wherever you are, everywhere in the world, be hopeful, be safe, if that pertains, and fill your heart with love. Always hope for peace, and I hope there's a lot of joy in your life. Still have fun and live in the present moment. Always. Take care.